What's up, guys? I'm Kyle Milan. Today's Thursday, and we are back with an episode of Talk Shop. We have not done this in a while, and I'm like talking with the team. We wanted to bring the Talk Shop episodes back, and they said, "Who are we going to have on the show?" And I said, "I got the perfect person to have on our first episode back from our hiatus, especially with Fabtech coming up around the corner." I said, "We got to bring in Doug Trout because he is known as, I don't know, the Fabtech God, the person that has all the keys to the castle,
Wow.
the knower of all things related to Fabtech. He's here to make money for all the exhibitors, right, Doug?"
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Doug. For those that don't know who you are or how you've been killing it for your entire career, why don't you give a brief rundown of what you're doing, who you're working for, and what's it like?
All right. Well, I work for the Precision Metal Forming Association, and we are one of 5 partners that come together to produce, perform Fabtech, which is one of the largest manufacturing shows in North America. And it's made up of fabricators, metal fabricators, metal stampers, metal finishers, and welding. Anything in the area of fabricating, finishing, welding, and folding, sheet metal. Anybody giving utility sheet metal will find a Disneyland of products and services available to them at Fabtech. So if you're involved in this industry, it's a must go to for sure.
Yeah, there you go. Disneyland of solutions and availability. So what's
Yeah.
so Fabtech this year moving over to Orlando. What type of turnout do you feel like like Chicago versus Orlando? What do you guys typically see?
Well, it's really an interesting question that you're asking me there because, this is our first time in Orlando. And we were, of course, I wouldn't say we were apprehensive at all. I mean, we were really eager and enthusiastic about getting here. But, the plan originally was go to Vegas because that's the normal rotation. And then Formula One, Formula One Racing scheduled their event there in Vegas at the same time as our show. So it really wasn't going to work out very well for us as far as, we just didn't think that we were putting that our best foot forward by doing that. In Orlando, they've been kind of I wouldn't they've been soliciting us for a while to check them out, and so we made a decision to go to Orlando. And our numbers right now, our pre-registration numbers are off the charts. I mean, we are, I think the last check I did, we were 11% over what we did in 2022 when we were in Atlanta. We're only like 3 to 5% off of the numbers in Chicago, which is extraordinary.
It's crazy.
It's never ever been done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
It's
I wouldn't expect that. I bet you guys weren't expecting that either.
no, no. We would have been thrilled, to have similar numbers to what we had in Atlanta the last time. But we're over the top now. I mean, we're extremely excited about it. And Orlando's got so many things to offer. It's just it's a great venue. I think our exhibitors are going to fall in love with this venue because it's wide open, it's beautiful, the facility is very user friendly, the people are outstanding, and I'll tell you what, if you're going to eat, you got to eat. You got to eat at this place. I mean, the chefs that they have at the Orlando County Convention Center are amazing. They're just amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so me and my team were just there in the first week of May at NPE. So NPE does a National Plastics Expo every other year in Orlando at the OCC.
Yeah.
And I wish we had a clip to show it. I'm gonna embarrass Riley for a second, but so we didn't want to spend the money because we were balling on a budget at the convention center. And one of my guys said, "Hey, there's this burger place, but it's like a couple miles away. Let's jump on the scooters. Let's rent some scooters and ride them out there and eat at this burger place." Do you remember the name of that, Riley? It was like burgers and shakes, and it was like 5 stars, 2 miles away. So we jumped on some of those Newt scooters. Riley almost bit it and did a full flip over the handlebars. Wish we caught it on video, but we didn't. But but yeah, the food there was great. It is a great convention center. You got the main two halls, right? You got the west side and the north building with the corridor that separates the two in between of about, I'd say, like, I don't know, 7 to 10 minute walk. Um, it definitely is a nice convention center.
Speaking of the National Plastic Show, I mean, NPE, they've been just crushing it. They have been crushing
Yeah.
it in Orlando. Gary Anderson, who's the guy that runs the Plastics Association over there, I spoke with him shortly after we made a decision to go to Orlando because we got a little pushback from some people because they're asking, why are we going to Orlando? There's no manufacturing, which is untrue.
Yeah.
Which is untrue. There's quite a bit of manufacturing in Florida. It's a little bit probably a best kept secret there. We're working with an organization down there, Florida. Florida Makes, I think, and they're a fantastic group of folks, and they're promoting the show big time down there too. But Gary was telling me, a lot of our MRO people, kind of push back on us because and we lost some of those people at the beginning, but um, now they had a 600 exhibitor waiting list to get in to that show.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And they've signed a contract with OCCC now through 2033. So for anybody who thinks that, and his comment to me was, Doug, the center of our universe, for the plastics industry is the same center of your universe in the metal forming industry. And that's Chicago. That's that 800-mile radius surrounding Chicago.
Yep.
And so, yeah, we got a little bit of pushback from some people that were concerned about that east. But man, we've never looked back. We've been just crushing it.
Yeah. Yeah. That
So,
I
I'll make a prediction. I'll make a prediction because I made this prediction before. But I personally believe that Orlando could be, in the not too distant future, our most favored venue as far as what our exhibitors find to be the most exciting venue to attend. And the attendees as well, because there's so much to do, so much to see, and there's a lot of opportunity outside the show. The show is, of course, the pinnacle of your experience, but there's a lot to do and see there, and it's people feel secure there, so that's an important thing.
yeah, I definitely I've been going to NPE and at the OCC since 2010 or 2012. And
Yeah, that was their first year there, I think.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it was great, right? I mean, compared to McCormick Place, I'm born and raised in Chicago. Moved to Texas six and a half years ago. Love going to McCormick Place, but there's just something about just even the congestion around the Orlando Convention Center versus McCormick Place, being able to get a house Airbnb instead of just relying on hotels, and more things to do, and easier to travel, places that are close but still far enough away to where it's not super congested. In Orlando versus in Chicago, you're pretty much on lockdown in the city, which love the city, born and raised there. But I would agree that Orange County Convention Center gives McCormick Place a definite run for the money, and especially October, why not go down to Florida? Especially if you're in the Midwest, go
yeah,
down to Florida, get a little bit of sun.
yeah, yeah, absolutely,
All right, so first
absolutely.
question: what key trends or technologies are you most excited about that are going to be happening at Fabtech this year?
Well, I mean, automation has really taken over the industry, right? I mean, um, everybody is interested in more automation and finding faster, simpler, more efficient solutions to their operations. And so our automation pavilion, our robotics and automation pavilion, has grown by leaps and bounds. And that's really a big part. That's going to be a growing. That's definitely a growing sector in our show. But there's you know automation has become extremely sophisticated. There's a lot of these companies that are providing automation solutions that have gotten pretty smart about you know we work with a lot of small to mid-sized manufacturing companies that don't necessarily have a ton of room, right? So these automation companies are making uh, those solutions uh, more adaptable to those operations, more portable, if you want to call it that. But yeah, yeah, I mean, I definitely call it that. Um, and that's just getting better and better all the time. It's that's really the big focus, I think,
Yeah, that's
especially with
go ahead.
the skills gap being what it is. Automation is a necessary thing.
Yeah, and it gives that
Um,
younger generation some cool stuff to learn, technology to learn and play with, right? Get them excited
absolutely,
about
absolutely.
tech. Is there?
Yeah, there's some genius stuff out there, man.
Yeah,
There's some genius stuff that just blows your mind.
yeah. I remember seeing that Fabtech. What was it last year? Was it last year? Yeah, Fabtech last year at McCormick Place. The automation stuff that they had there. I hadn't been to it in a while, and I was kind of shocked at the advancements that have happened and the people that were attending at the show. Um, so that's definitely cool. Is there any behind the scenes insights into FabTech 2024 versus 2023 differences in the show, or is it going to be similar setup in Orlando versus Chicago?
Well, whenever we go to a different venue, we have to make some adjustments on where we're going to be placing each of the pavilions. I mean, sometimes, for example, in Chicago, the pavilions are set up so that tube and pipe metal form, which is the metal stamping tool and die, press automation, and related products, which is the area that I manage there primarily. And then the finishing area, we're all located in the Lakeside building. And when we go to Vegas, that will be different. I don't know what the setup will be in Vegas when we return there in 26 because there's been changes made out there. So I'm not 100% sure of how that will work. But when we're in Orlando this year, over in the West building, you're going to find the automation pavilion, you're going to find welding and finishing. They'll be over there together. Over in the north-south building, you'll find the fabricating and forming area of the show. Metal form will be placed right next to that. And then next to metal form will be tube and pipe. So that's really the only differences. I mean, of course, we're hoping that people walk the entire show, see everything that's out there. Like I said, I mean, it's if you're a shop that's looking to upgrade your operations, streamline your operations, you got some money to spend, or you're looking to invest in the future, this is absolutely. I mean, if I dare say, I think it'd be foolish not to be there because it's everything and anything that you're going to be looking for to do that, and you're going to be able to find people that can help you as well. I mean, the networking opportunities there are tremendous. You know, a lot gets done at the hotel bar at
Yeah,
the end of the day, right?
yeah,
So uh, some of the best deals are made right there, and you get a lot of opportunity to talk with a lot of very interesting, innovative people. Um, it's outstanding opportunity.
yeah. So for those people that don't understand, I guess the massive size of FabTech, because I feel like people think, oh, biggest trade show, IMTS, right? And I'm going to IMTS next week, and everybody goes to that's the biggest, right? And I always look at IMTS. If you're in metal cutting, machining, CNC type stuff, IMTS is where it's at. Metal forming, automation, welding, stuff like that. That's where FabTech comes into play. But if we were to just high level, I know that the show hasn't come yet and isn't done, but just the facts of exhibitors, attendees, and square footage at FabTech. What are the stats?
We'll have roughly somewhere close to between 1,500 and 1,600 exhibitors, somewhere in that area. We should have close to 40,000 attendees. We'll have 40,000 people in the building, somewhere around there. Somewhere in the area of, total square footage. Oh, I'm struggling with that one.
Isn't it like
I had to
close,
go back to my
like
stats.
1.2 million ish?
No, not quite that. No,
Okay.
no, no. But it's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of. Believe me, bring a nice, good pair of shoes. Because you know, there's a lot there. There's there's a lot of exhibitors, and it's broken up in such a manner that we try to make it as user friendly for the attendee as possible, so that we have different pavilions that are focused on particular technologies. So if you don't have a lot of time to spend at the show and you're focused on one particular thing, you can find that relatively easily. That's our management team's philosophy is, let's make this easy for people to get here, find what they're looking for, and have a great
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, when I was at MPE in May, we ran into numerous people that we knew that were just there for a day. They'd hit the South Hall in the morning, the West Hall in the afternoon, or vice versa, and then they flew in, flew out, and only went to the show for a day because they're on a mission to see specific things. You can do it, whereas I feel like McCormick Place, you're spending half that time walking because there's different halls and different setups, but yeah, we've got a comment from Tim Drinkwater saying, "Doug, what was the last technology or machine at the show that blew you away?"
Oh boy. So yeah, you're going to get me in trouble, but that's all right. Um, uh, you know, I got to tell you that there is a fab company over there in the forming and fabricating area that makes a folding machine that is just amazing. They're fabulous. There's so much. I don't want to call out anybody by name, but there. Believe me when I tell you that. That would be like asking me what my favorite color is.
Yeah,
There's way too many of them to choose from. You got to get there and experience it yourself. I mean, there's some amazing technology there, and some of the solutions that people are coming up with are just, you know, that's the thing. I wake up in the morning and I come to work and I tell myself, I'm probably one of the most fortunate people in the world to get to rub shoulders with some of the most genius people. I mean, people that came from, you know, started their business out of the back of a station wagon, taking small tools around the shops and then just building from there. And just some of the stuff that I've seen over the years here being at PMA, some of the people that I've gotten to know, guys like Bill Adler, Bill Adler, who's the president owner of Stripmatic Corporation. This is a guy that didn't know anything about the metal forming business, uh, really. And he bought the business. Now what do I do?
yeah,
He called PMA, called our association, said, "Hey man, I really don't know what I'm doing, but can you guys help me out?" And he's been our chairman. He's actively engaged with us. So many years later, he's been an incredible contributor for us, and just yeah. So it's exciting to find those kind of people that with that entrepreneurial spirit and problem solving capability. You know, it's a lot of fun.
yeah. Putting on a show this size? I mean, what do you feel like are the biggest challenges when it comes to um, like something this big? What are the top challenges that you feel like you face with on your side?
Well, the top, you know, my job is relatively easy compared to a guy, like Chris Moody, who's our operations chief, right? I mean, that guy has got so many balls in the air constantly, right? I mean, he's got to worry about freight getting in on time. He's got to worry about, hanging signs. He's got to worry about making sure he's got all the material handling solutions there so that we can get things in and out. He's got to, you know, figure out the timing of all of that. It's a huge job. And our operations team, not just Chris, I mean, an entire team of people do just fantastic job of getting people in and out of the show. You're going to always have problems with a show of this size. I mean, it's just inevitable. So, but having a team there that is capable of solving those problems quickly and efficiently, like Chris's team does, is a fantastic thing. We've got we are the benchmark, really, and I don't say that lightly because there's a lot of great shows out there, but Fabtech is a benchmark show, man. We do a lot of things right, um, and uh, and that's proven by our our attendee surveys. People you know have a very good experience when they come to Fabtech, and it's and I put that on the fact that we have a great management team. We have a lot of people that spend a lot of time and effort in making sure that like I said earlier, we're trying to make things easy for people, both attendees and exhibitors.
Yeah.
So,
Do you I mean, speaking of other trade shows in the space, what do you think are like the top two differentiators for Fabtech versus the other guys besides the pure size of it, right? Because Fabtech to me is the top of the line, biggest player in the space when it comes to this specific niche verticals in manufacturing. But what do you think are the top two differentiators that you guys have?
making things easy, really, and the size, like you said. I mean, there's not a there's not a show in North America that currently, at least, that we're worried about as far as competing with us. There's a lot of smaller shows and a lot of smaller events that take place. Some of which my own organization here puts on. That are promoting manufacturing and promoting the individual disciplines that you would find collectively at Fabtech. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think the sheer size and scope of what we um, are displaying at the show um, is is a big differentiator. I mean, where are you going to you can I mean if you win the lottery and you decide to build a shop, you can go to Fabtech and get everything you need. You know,
Yeah,
bar none. I mean, bar none, and then and more. I mean, you need a paint line, you need a powder coating line, you need electrostatic finishing, you need welding cells, you need welding equipment, you need stamping presses, any servo presses, stamping presses, roll forming equipment, anything that you're looking for, you're going to be able to find there. And you know, now with these automation solutions that are being offered at the show, that's further branching. There's branches that grow from that, right? So um, companies that are looking for material handling solutions can find some of that there at Fabtech as well. We have packaging solutions, ERP solutions, um, marketing. You guys are exhibiting at the show. Manufacturers that are looking to up their marketing game. So there's just a plethora of opportunity there, and that's one of the reasons, of course, that it's like you said earlier. Make sure to get around the show because you don't want to miss anything. Right? There's a lot there. Absolutely.
what do you
Yeah.
like strategies being used to enhance the experience? What types of things do you guys look at when you're planning? Because so PMA is one of what is it, the five top sponsors,
Yeah.
contributors?
So the five organizations that produce FabTech are Precision Metal Forming Association, the American Welding Society, the Chemical Coaters Association International, the SME, which of course most people still, I think they brand themselves as SME, but it's the Society of Manufacturing Engineers, and the Fabricators and Manufacturers Association (FMA). So yeah, that's a big group of people right there. That covers everything.
Yeah.
Um, I forgot the last part of your question. What was that now? What are the
Yeah, the
strategies? Well,
strategies being used like when you guys think about, all right, this year we're going to do the show. What did we learn from last year as far as exhibitor experience, attendee experience? What things do we want to change and learn? Do you guys all get together? Does each party just individually throw up their viewpoints, their experience, their ideas, or do you guys collaborate all together? How does it work?
Well, there's we collaborate. Our team collaborates one with the other. We meet regularly. I mean, we this is a full time gig. It's a year round gig. We We do the show here in the United States. We also do the show in Mexico every year. We do the show in Canada every 2 years. So there's a lot going on. I mean, there's always sales going on for these shows. So um, and the strategy really, I mean, this is, the technology changes, the technology evolves. But really, when it comes to exhibiting, I'm pretty much a tried and true guy. I believe that certain things work, certain things don't, and refining those things and practicing those things before you get to the show, I think are really important. I think that's probably the biggest area of neglect that exhibitors um, have, is that they don't practice their display before they get to a show. They don't have, like your salespeople. You're always asking your salespeople, what's the elevator pitch, or what are you saying to these people when you're on the phone? What are you saying to these people when you're going to visit them? What are some of the key points that we want to talk about our products and our services, right? You really ought to be doing that before you get to a show. A lot of people just throw, you know, sadly, it's not a lemonade stand. You just don't put up a booth and then expect people to show up, right? So there's a lot of work on the front end. You want to make sure that your customers know you're going to be there. Your prospective customers, make sure that your world headquarters for that 3 or 4 day span is right at that show. So you want to make sure everybody knows about it, and you want to be prepared. You want to have, you know, demonstrability is always the thing that works. So if you don't have a story to tell, if you don't have something to demonstrate, find something. I mean, I don't care what it is. I mean, find something to tell a story about. I like to tell this story because I think it's illustrative about just telling. I went to a show. It was just a small show here in Cleveland about maybe 10 years ago, and as I'm walking in, I don't like to have any of those show organizers think that I'm coming to hunt at their show. Um, you know, and of course, if there's an opportunity to talk to somebody about them exhibiting a Fabtech, I'm going to talk to them about it. But and I don't go there to solicit and take up their time. They've paid their way to exhibit, and we ought to give them the opportunity to do that. We don't like when people come and suitcase our show either. But as I'm walking through, this fella, he starts calling me over. He says, "Hey man, come on over here. I want to show you something." And I tried to tell him. I said, "Hey man, I'm not a manufacturer. I work for a trade association. I'm not buying any equipment." He didn't listen to a thing I said. Didn't listen to a thing I said. He just kind of, lured me in, and he started doing a demonstration. He had a barrel of water. He had two barrels, right? He had a barrel of water that was filthy. It was filled like with wood chips and metal chips and all sorts of stuff. And he stuck a hose in there, and he stuck another hose in the other barrel that was empty. And he turned on a machine. He started telling me about all these wonderful things about his machine. He could have cared less about me, because what he knew was, as he started demonstrating this machine, other people were going to come around and look at it, right? So he could have cared less if I was, a monkey with an organ walking by. He was going to start to demonstrate this machine to somebody, and sure enough, before I knew it, I'm surrounded by 5, 6 people. That introverted guy that was walking by, who would probably never have come into the booth, he was standing behind me looking over my shoulder. And suddenly, that 5 or 6 people grew to 10 people. I kind of backed up myself out of the crowd and just watched with fascination. This guy, it was a genius move. And he did that over and over again at that show.
Yeah.
And his booth was constantly busy, and he was constantly having conversations. And he was animated. But the key there was demonstrability. And I try to tell people that all the time, is that, if you have a part, it's great to lay some parts out on your table, right? If you're a small guy and you're doing some exhibiting there, and you got some parts that you're proud of and that you made, that's great. People are going to come by, they're going to see those parts. They don't know nothing about them. They don't know how you came about that. Grab that part, stand in your booth, take it apart, Don't say anything. Just start taking it apart. Demonstrate something. People are going to they're going to slow down. They're going to look. They're going to say, "Hey, you know how I made this part? This is how this part developed. This is how it evolved. This is how these are some of the things that we had to do to it." So if you're a guy that is offering manufacturing solutions, you're starting to tell a story. My kids asked me a long time ago. We were at a restaurant. I said, "Dad, what do you do?" And it's kind of hard to explain what a trade association does in a in a very small amount of time. Um, but there was a salt shaker on the table, and with the metal top on it, and I grabbed it and I started unscrewing it. And my little boy got a little mischief in him. He said, "Ooh," he thought I was playing a trick on the next people that were going to come in and dump the salt.
Yeah.
No, 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 that's not what we're doing. I took the top of the salt shaker off. I said, "You see this little metal part here? The perforations here that allow the salt to go through, and the tap, that allows you to screw that onto that glass salt shaker." I said, "Do you know how much thought and engineering went behind this? The amount of time and effort and genius that went behind. I mean, they're spitting these things out now at thousands and thousands of these things daily. But when this was first made, it took an incredible amount of thought and effort to develop that, and the tooling and everything else that goes along with it. So, to me, telling a story, and my kids were fascinated. My kids were, I was looking around the table and they're all looking at that salt shaker. So, and it kind of told me, this is what you have to do when you exhibit. You have to tell a story, and you have to have something demonstrable.
Yeah, it's all about getting attention. Like you said, people act like it's a lemonade stand and people are going to come up to them and immediately engage. But what can you do at a trade show booth? And we say this on my show all the time: is you have to stand out. How can you do that? Draw attention, be loud, get in the aisleway, engage with people instead of just sitting back in a chair waiting for people to come up to you. We were at IME West in February, which is like med device trade show. And probably the coolest, most attention grabbing thing I've ever seen is this guy had a product that I didn't even know this existed, but if somebody's trying to steal things out of a 53-foot trailer, there's this system that basically fills up the trailer with fog and smoke within a matter of like 5 seconds. And it's like this security breach screening thing. And they had a booth that you can walk into and they turn on the machine and it completely smokes you out. So I sent my two sales guys and Riley, who's running this live right now, in there with a camera. And when they came out, and there was even a show media publication for the show that walked in there. When they came out, it's like they walked out of a hot tub time machine, and everybody was around because the smoke just hits up to the ceiling, dissipates because it's just like a vapor, and then they let it reset. And hey, who wants to go in and see what it'd be like to try and steal something from somebody's trailer and have the security system go off and make it to where you can't even see the hand in front of your face, which would force you to
Right.
to leave. And like you said, that gets attention. When we were at NPE, people had a golf simulator doing a long drive competition. You get 3 swings, your name goes up on the board. Everybody was stopping. There was a line. We got tons of footage of it. But the issue was is that the company that had the 800, 1,200 square foot booth that used a corner of it to do that golf simulation, I couldn't tell you the name of it because everybody was
Was that
focusing.
was that a fab? Was that a fab?
No,
Because that
that
was
was at
we
NPE.
we had a simulator at our booth last
Yeah,
year.
yeah, you guys, yeah,
Very
you PMA had one at in Chicago. I didn't stop by it, but some of my team
similar.
did. But no, at NPE in May there was one. But the problem is that the company missed the assignment. So you got the attention, but what are you going to do with it? I was telling the team, if I worked at this company, I'd be, while those people are waiting in line, talk to them about their needs, their problems, see if they have a need for whatever it is service that you have, because you've gotten the attention. But then people would take their swings and then walk away and see if they come
Yeah.
back later and see if they won. So step one, get attention, but step two, do something with it once you get it. One more question from Alexis Papagiannis coming out of Canada. Do either of you have any tips for attending trade shows for networking purposes? Why don't you go first with that, Doug?
Well, I mean, sure. I mean, you know, I'm big on network. I mean, I think networking is a relatively simple operation. One thing you don't want to do at a trade show, and I'll tell you, if you do it at our show, we'll ask you to leave. If you're not exhibiting and you're there soliciting people, we're going to tell you to get out, right? You didn't pay your way, you know. And if you're an exhibitor at Fabtech and somebody comes and solicits in your booth and starts trying to take precious time away from your opportunity that you paid for, you can kick them out. And if they don't leave, call me and I'll kick them out. So yeah, we don't like anybody suitcasing our show. That's a big no-no. That's something that we really frown upon. And I think exhibitors also frown upon that. So if you're there to network, don't solicit. Be professional. If you are there and you are looking to, have some great conversations like that, that's certainly something that we expect, and certainly something that we're not necessarily um, discouraging. It's just the way that you do it. If you're going to have those conversations, do it in a professional way, and remember that these people came to sell their products. They paid their way to do it, and it's not fair to them that you get that you're coming in here and riding for free. So that's one thing I would do. I would say the other tip: hit the hotel bar.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of great networking opportunities after the show. At the end of the day, and even if you're not a drinker, I mean, just hang out. I mean, a lot of people there and hanging out. Introduce yourself. It's you know there is no magic pill to networking, right? I mean, you want to network, stick out your hand. Say, hey, man, my name's Doug. How are you? What do you do? Where are you from? What are you guys doing here? What are you looking for? Kind of thing. There's no magic pill in that. I mean, it's just, you know, it always kind of, we our organization, I work for a fantastic organization, man. PMA is just a fantastic organization. And when we put on local events and when we put on our district events and things like that, I'm always excited to see our people. Years ago, our people used to stand at one table and everybody else was out there doing their thing. And our people were kind of afraid to go out and say hello to anybody and network with them. That isn't, well, we've got incredible leadership with David Klotz and Mike Volan. Um, I mean, they want us to be out there, kissing babies and shaking hands. And that's what you got to do. You got to get off your seat. Don't be afraid. Just get out there. People, you got to remember, people are just probably maybe as apprehensive as you are, but
Yeah.
stick out your hand.
Yeah. I think my advice on that, because I've been to so many trade shows, and what we always do is when it comes to not suitcasing is we're at the trade show typically because we have customers there and we're there for a reason, right? To either shoot video content or do something with our clients. But then we're just there to absorb latest technology, the information in the industry, and we walk the show, ask people questions about their product, their technology, and when they ask us, "Oh, what is it that you guys do?" We are just super nonchalant. We do marketing for industrial companies, but back to what it is that you do, and then we ask questions, and then a handful of people say, "Wait a minute, you guys do marketing, I need marketing. You guys do sales stuff, I need sales help." And they start the conversation, and we're very cognizant of the fact, like, if there's people, like, you're here to sell to these people walking by, but half the time people will be like, "No, don't worry about it. Come here. Let's talk real quick about this. Give me your information. Let's talk later, etc."
Yeah,
And then we're
yeah,
usually there with video cameras saying, "Can we? We're filming this stuff. Can we promote you in our video that we're doing, showing some of your footage, etc." And they're like, "Yeah, I would love it." But agree 100%. And following up, Alexis had a question: would it be any different for a company that's selling a service rather than a product? Does it still kind of suitcasing? I think that as long as you go into it generally interested in learning technology or what these companies have to offer and making the conversation about them, they're going to ask you, look down at your tag and say, what is it that you do at this company? And if you just say, like, oh, I'm a CNC machine shop, we do turning and milling, and then if from there they keep the conversation going, then by all means do it. But being cognizant of the fact that the people that are walking down the aisle is for the most part their
Okay.
demographic. So don't stand in the way of letting them
You
sell.
know, everybody's suitcases. I suitcase, so I'll admit, but I do it in a way that doesn't offend and doesn't take the time away from what they're trying to do. Um, Somebody just asked a question. I saw a question come up. Does it matter if it's a product or a service? No. What matters is your professionalism in your approach. I go to Germany. I go to Euroblack, which is a big show. It's very comparable to Fabtech here in the United States. And I'm there looking for new exhibitors, right? Uh, and when I go there, I walk in, I put my card down, I say to the fellow that I want to talk to, listen, I don't want to take any of your time. Here's my card. If you want to talk about coming to Fabtech and exhibiting with me next year, let me know. I'll be happy to help you out. I start walking away. If that guy says, come on back, that's an invitation for me to come on back and talk to him. If he doesn't, I try to follow up with him when I get back home, right?
Yep, that's the best way to do it.
And that's just,
That's the best way to do it.
yeah,
If they're leading the conversation, then it's all right. And then even still,
right.
being cognizant of the time. All right, so we're gonna go through 4 rapid fire fun questions for you, Doug, so everybody can learn why
Okay.
you're awesome.
All right.
So whiskey, vodka, tequila. You could only drink one for the rest of your life. What would you keep?
Tequila. That's a
Tequila.
no-brainer.
Any
Tequila.
specific type of tequila that you love?
I like Corralejo. It's very good. I like the Don Julio 1942.
Okay.
Yeah, those are my two go-tos for sure. The Don Julio 1942 is a little pricey. They got to pay me more for me to be able to afford it
Yep.
on a regular basis. But yeah, there's another one called Suavecito, the Suavecito Añejo, which is very reasonably priced. And yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Alexis.
no gin
Yeah,
on it.
Alexis
Yeah, I
says
saw the
she
question.
says gin. I'm just gonna say sorry. We don't do that here in the states, Alexis. We don't do gin. It's tequila, vodka, or whiskey. Uh, how do you like your steak done?
Oh, bloody.
Bloody.
Yeah.
Still mooing.
Uh, yeah, seared and mooing.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I like a cool center.
Would you rather fight a grizzly bear or a silverback gorilla?
Oh shit. Oh, I think a grizzly bear. I think they'd give up a little quick. I
Yeah.
mean, they probably say uncle faster,
Yeah.
right? I don't know.
Or you
I
could trick them,
bears
right? You could.
bears seem to come in and beat you up and then they leave. Gorillas, they're a little too smart. They're gonna just beat you up and then grab you by the leg, you know, smack you down a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the gorilla would be a little rough. Got a chance of surviving with a grizzly.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I feel the same. And who's one person from history that you would like to have a beer with, or some tequila?
Oh my goodness! The guy that comes to mind is the guy that built the Brooklyn Bridge, John. Oh, Robley, I think he built the Brooklyn Bridge. There's a lot of people, man. That Jesus, of course, would be great.
Yep.
Peter would be awesome. But the guy that built the Brooklyn Bridge, I would love to pick his brain a little bit. Fantastic guy. I can't remember his last name. John Robley or something like that. Robleson, something like that.
All right.
I read the book, The Building of the Brooklyn Bridge, and it was amazing. Yeah.
All right, Doug. Well, we appreciate you coming on this episode of Talk Shop to give your expertise and experience at Precision Metal Forming
Thank you.
Association and talking about Fabtech. Entertaining as always. I think that the audience definitely got some good information from you.
Oh,
And the stories are always amazing. Just like when we were talking at the district leadership conference, it's like I can just
yeah, it was fun.
sit there. I can just sit there for hours and just shoot the shit with you. That's just how it is. That's why we wanted to have you on for this first episode. So that'll
Well, thank you very much.
absolutely. So that'll close it out for this episode of Talk Shop, guys. If you want to connect with Doug on LinkedIn, follow him. engage with him. If you guys want to exhibit at Fabtech, Doug is the guy to be. If you're going to Fabtech, the PMA booth is in the metal forming section, I believe, at the end of the hallway there, or end of the aisleway that we're going to be at in Orlando. It happens in about 35 days. It's a great show. So if you guys are going to it, be sure to stop by the PMA booth, say hi to Doug. He'll be walking around, putting out all the fires and telling everybody what to do, because he is the king of that show. So that's it for this episode. We will see you guys on the next one.